Atma here. You get the special privilege of hearing me snivel, as I have a bit of a cold, but it is day one of Aether Revolt, so probably should make some kind of video. I basically stopped doing the campaign videos because they took a long time and nobody really gives two damns about the story mode. But I thought I'd make a video in its place called Day One of Stuff. And in Day One of Stuff, I gotta buy the boosters first. So basically what this video is going to be about is just where I usually start when it comes to a new set. And where I start is with an aggro deck. And I'm going to do a red-white humans in this particular case to start off. And we'll see how that goes. Now, there's two ways I end up making decks. Usually when I get started, I take one of my old decks and I update it. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take well, it was a white humans deck. I actually kind of made it a little bit red like a couple days ago just to see sort of what it would look like before the new stuff. And I'm just going to take that deck and add the new humans. So that deck is right here. I'm going to explore some of these new deck building features, although they're explaining it nicely. I'll just skip over it and pretend like I know what I'm doing. I don't, but that's okay. Alright, so let's take a look and see how they all sort. We want red and white creatures. And page 2. So the rarity, that doesn't really matter. Keywords, that does not matter. Creature types, those matter. There's humans right there, so that's pretty cool. Mechanics. Well, I'm gonna make a +1/+1 counters deck in the next video probably, because I really like the idea of some of the +1/+1 counter stuff. But for now, oh, sets too. Let's go with Aether Revolt. Alright, so here's all the new red and white humans in Aether Revolt. This one gives our vehicles flying. This seems like a cool chick. Let's throw her in there. Aether Chaser. This is actually a pretty decent card. 2/1 first strike for 2. This one lets you rummage. Also has first strike. First strike is a pretty good ability for aggro. Attacks each combat if able. I don't like that nearly as much as the guy who... Well, I mean, it's okay. If he had haste, he'd certainly be a lot better. Second, we're not going to do too much artifacting in this deck. Double strike guy, I kind of want to try this guy out. This one, you get to use artifacts to make him cheaper. This guy's a guy that I think that will be good. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to just add this guy, and I kind of swore there was another guy. Am I just mistaken? So this guy and this guy. We'll remove this mediocre human. I like Selfless Spirit, even in a humans deck. I probably don't want 4 of those. Let's see. I do like a collective effort. For the sake of trying stuff out, I should just cut whatever. But... could have swore there was more humans. The first strike guys I definitely like. I guess that's it. I mean, in my video I only updated those 2 red ones and then this this guy who's really cool. I may try and like force green into a strategy like this, but I think we'll start with something like this. I'm going to cut 1 make a stand And I'm going to cut a Abbot of Keral Keep, because he's a little awkward sometimes. So now we've only added, what, 4 cards? That's not too insane. But this is the way I like to start. It's my game. You get a little bit of a glimpse of what people are doing, and then begin. The other way I like to build decks is I just bring a blank slate, and I'm going to have to do that with some decks like the Artifact deck. So this hand is almost perfect, except for the fact that it doesn't have shit for mana. This has no mana. This has basically no mana. This is pretty crappy, but what are you going to do? On the play with Topan Freeblade might be enough to buy us some turns where our opponent is a little bit afraid. Plus, I mean, we're at rank 1 right now. This is day 1, match 1 of Aether Revolt. Now, because red-white humans didn't get like a ton of new creatures, but it got a couple little upgrades, and this deck was already quite strong, I do think that I want to get a little bit cute and get that green-white guy in. But I'll have to think on it. It's going to take a little more thought than this video will provide. Well, now if we get a land, we're just off to the races. I do find this 1/1 lifelink to be threatening in a deck that is built around it. Like, if he's comfortable throwing that out there and not blocking, it probably means that he's got a way to do some gross stuff. This is almost the nut draw for a deck like ours. Topan Freeblade into Thalia is usually the best way. If you follow it up with Gideon on 4, which, I mean, is possible, it certainly is the best. It's like triple the best. It's pretty rough beats for our opponent. It's going to be taking quite a bit of damage. Land? Nope. Another 4-drop. The new 4-drop that we wanted to try out. This deck doesn't really make energy, but the fact that this is just a 3/3 that can get pumped by some of our other abilities is pretty excellent. 3/3 double strike, that is. The only thing is you have to be attacking, so you want this at the top end of a aggressive curve. You don't want this just in any mid-range deck. This could easily be like a Blessed Alliance or something. I guess we'll see what happens first. I think what we might be dealing with here is a spell queller. And I'd rather have this spell quelled, as disappointing as that is. Convolute. That is not a spell queller. But it is a counterspell. A predictable one at that. That's why our opponent gets paid the big bucks. What do we got here? Gain 2 life, gain 2 spirits. Well, he's going to flip his guy, isn't he? If he attacks. I don't think he can afford to attack here. He's just dead if he attacks. Oh, or maybe he's not. Because he goes to 9. He's damn close to dead, but not dead. Collective effort right here would be insane. That's decent. Well, Gideon is not going to be able to win any kind of combat, so like I can't protect him. So I think I just ult this Gideon. Call it a day. It'll force him to block here, at the very least. We didn't get, it's so funny, I make a deck, let's try out some new guys. It's counterspelled. We just win with old-fashioned stuff. What I really want to see with this deck is the games where I play the 1-3 Menace First Strike on turn 2 and then follow it up with a Thalia's Lieutenant. I'm very curious how those matches will end up where we have attacking monkeys. This guy's actually in pretty decent shape considering he can attack for free with this guy and then he can chump block at least a turn. Oh, that's even more insane. We've lost. We actually lost this game is what happened. I pretty much need exactly collective effort now. That ain't it. Yep. Gaining life and having first strike is a thing in this game. Having chump blockers too is also pretty impressive. I wouldn't assume this is a game we were likely to lose, but we are going to lose it. Barring some pretty fortunate draws. He's testing our ability to Blessed Alliance, and he finds out that we don't have it and that he won the game. Wow. He super won the game. So, do we have any chance to win? Declaration in Stone. We can't cast anything with 3 CMC or less, so we lost. That felt to be about as unlikely as a loss as you're going to get in a game, but we did play Gideon a turn late, and he did have the absolute super counter nuts of first strike and lifelink and land and that giant angel, so... What I'm feeling about this deck right now, red-white in particular, not necessarily red-white-green, which might be better, although less consistent mono, so maybe not, is that this deck didn't exactly get a bunch of upgrades. Like, we put 4 things in. That's not nothing. But it's fairly small. It's about a little more than a 10% of the total deck. So we have a really good draw here, though, especially if we draw another land and we're able to double Topan Freeblade on 4. Because he has to make a real decision. Usually, when it comes to Consul's Lieutenant, it involves chump blocking, so he doesn't get the counter, typically. Games where you curve out and then play Gideon, not quite on curve, but close enough, are usually not games that you lose with any kind of humans deck, but we lost that one, and it was pretty surprising. I can't deny it. I can't be too mad, but I'll tell you, the amount of times I lost when ranked 1 might have been 0% prior to that game. So kudos to that guy. Although I'm unable to right-click and see who the hell these guys are anymore for some weird reason. I don't really get it. Oh, there it is. I can just scroll wheel. He continues to be in a pretty bad way. Green, blue energy, it's something that's like close to being a thing, but it's not that good. You can certainly go off, particularly if you get to 7 mana, like our previous opponent did with his Giant Angel. If you play the Leviathan thing, you're in good shape. Another one of those. Well, we're certainly not getting to 4 mana very easily. Typically, I think it's better to throw down another Consul's Lieutenant. Has first strike, and it's harder to cast 2 things with Consul's Lieutenant. Since we only have 2 white, if we were to draw a mountain, we'll need to do 2 white for something else. And since our whole hand is white, you know what I mean. This would keeping this in hand would prevent us from playing 2 things next turn if we were to draw a mountain. Well, our opponent curved out, and he did play the best blue-green energy creature, which is this thing. It's particularly busted if you can like use pump spells, but I don't like to use pump spells really, so I'm not sure what this attack is all about. It seems psychotic. I'm trying to think of what he could have for 1 blue that even matters. Maybe he's just a level 1 player and he doesn't realize that first strike beats his thing. It's a pretty good draw. This is one of those times where having a Thalia's Lieutenant to follow up this Hanweir Garrison would be excellent, but one weird non-synergy is because these Consul's Lieutenant give +1/+1 on the attack, and these Hanweir Garrison tokens come out on the attack. I don't think the tokens actually get buffed by this particular ability that says when it attacks, attacking creatures get +1/+1. Pretty sure they're just 1/1s, which is unfortunate. See, when you have to play things like this, even though scrying is nice, you're not really doing anything. There's another new guy and we still can't cast it. That concerns me. They do get pumped. That doesn't seem like it should happen. I don't think that's actually legal for them to get pumped like that. But a win's a win. So, there it is. Maybe we'll get to play one of our new cards next. Alright, rolling back. Trying to play one of our brand new 4 cards that we added to this humans deck. No such luck. Pretty much have to keep this hand though. So we haven't drawn the 2-drop at all. We didn't have enough mana for the 4-drop really. Except, and it was countered in game 1. Predictably countered, no less. Pia Nalaar, she doesn't need artifacts. Sometimes all you need to do is make somebody not be able to block once against a deck this aggressive. There's another guy, and we don't have the mana for it again. Ugh. Ugh. We're going to play this double strike guy. I can feel it one of these days. I mean, considering Gideon was our only 4-drop, adding 2 more 4-drops doesn't seem like a big deal, and yet we have been a little screwed on mana. I'm going to play against the computer because I really want to see if we can do something with this thing. Our opponent's probably playing some kind of Grixis artifact deck that he just slammed together, and it's probably pretty crappy. Or Grixis spells. He might not have all the cards. You never know what you're going to be playing at these low levels. Like do nothing spirits and then yeah, okay, so it's the spells deck. We did get Brazellid. That was pretty depressing. Land? Nope. Excuse me. So this is a pretty typical win, is somebody plays some slow deck and we play a non-slow deck and just crush them. I mean, these types of games are part of why you play decks like this too. Like you don't discount this game just because it wasn't a game. Although, well, under normal circumstances that would be annoying, but we have Pia this time and Declaration in Stone. There's another one of the guys and we never did get it. Pretty crazy. Normally this is what I would do to find the next land. It's over anyway, but you know. Alright, let's try and get a game 4 in. Just trucking along, trying to do some game 4s here. See if this is the game where we actually get the sweet draws that we want with our new cards. I'm starting to feel like the 4-drop double strike guy, while sweet, we finally get to do it with this thing though. While sweet, might be a little too high on the curve for the mana that I currently have in this deck, which is not that much. Under normal circumstances, I would play Topan Freeblade first, because you usually want to try and push the Renown through. But I'm going to play this for fun. Space Hitler. It's pretty easy to kill Space Hitler. You just hit him with monkeys. Don't kill this, please. I really want this to live. He could be holding up the 2-mana creature counterspell, in which case it seems pretty reasonable to just always watching. I like to be... Oh, he's leaving the game. Nope. It was just a little lag. Usually you want to just use your mana efficiently. Like, even though always watching another 2-drop next turn would have been pretty awesome. It's better to just play the 3 mana and try and cast 2 things next turn if you can. It's pretty savage, swinging for 4 on turn 3. Even without always watching, it's pretty sweet. Now that he played this, it actually makes me like that I played this Kari Zev even more. Because now he has to block with more things, and since he has a bunch of things, you know. So it's pretty likely that I'm going to bust 2 creatures here instead of Gideon, but we'll see. See what he does first. If he does no blocks, then there's a possibility that that's Alright, so he does no blocks. I like to get that Gideon going. Yeah, let's do it. This actually seems slightly less aggressive. Seems like putting 2 creatures out would have been superior, but in this case, I can plus Gideon, attack, and then minus Gideon a little bit faster. Or if he just decides to play nothing, just plus Gideon again and win. Get a game 5 in. Screw it. Okay, so I can see why he did that. Sure. I think I just attack with Gideon alone. And then ult next turn to make my things a little bit more savage. I'm going to try Abbot. See if I can get a land. Thalia's Lieutenant wouldn't be bad either. Got a land. So we can actually play 2 things if I don't Consul's Lieutenant. Which is pretty insane. So we're just dead to like Languish or something, but considering he's playing like this little artifact theme, I would not suspect that he has Languish in this deck. He could have Yeheni's Expertise, but even that doesn't do that much because we still get our Monkey Maker. Tezzeret's Touch, okay. So he has a 5/5. Oh, a 6/6 even. Base. Oh yeah, it's pumped. That's right. So we have first strike. Okay, I'm gonna actually just block this thing. He left. I'm gonna block this thing with 2 things. There's an argument for just chump blocking one thing and cracking back, I guess, but it's not lethal, but he does have to make sad blocks. It's really too bad that I had to get such a cold on the day when I had planned to make a video, but here I am. Like all aggro decks, these are nice and short, so... Oh man. Mr. Chump Blocker's over there. He's certainly dead on this turn, just for the wreck. Well, I certainly like this deck. I don't know if it's actually better than just mono white yet, until I see the double strike guy play, but I mean, keep in mind, you can also just play burn spells. Like, Shock actually wouldn't be bad in this deck. So, we'll keep thinking about it moving forward.